What's going on, everyone? This is Brent Dunn from PPC Mode with my buddy Anthony Paluzzi from Palo Mobile. How's it
Hey
going,
man,
man?
I'm doing good. And thank you for pronouncing my name very officially. I
Yeah,
appreciate
not a
that.
not a problem. I
See,
mean, for
someone
all
has
those
done his
people,
research.
more so that we just got coached a little bit earlier before
Okay, all
this.
right. All the Italians watching will be proud.
Awesome. So, yeah, I mean, just give us a little bit of background for those of the viewers that don't know who you are. And
Totally. So um, I started in the affiliate media buying space in 2010 as an affiliate, strictly focused on pay per call, and I started on Commission Junction and Impact Radius, and I stumbled my way into them um, through a Craigslist offer. And so, like most affiliates do, no, that's an exaggeration. So I've been in the space since 2010. Um, I've been watching pay per call grow from pretty much its very very early stages to what it is today. And so from 2010 to 2014, I was solely focused on media buying, Google Ads or AdWords when it was AdWords, SEO, lots of display, click to call, all that, and then from 2014 to today, I decided to start a pay per call agency slash network, which is Palo, and so we now solely focus on pay per call. We build our brands and our programs around pay per call. We've been growing assets in our affiliate relationships since then, and it's been very fun to watch how pay per call has grown. And here we are today, pronouncing each other's last names correctly, Mr. Dunn.
awesome. So, yeah, I mean, the goal of this call is really to kind of talk about what we've seen in the space and where the space is going in 2020. And I think having you on here with your knowledge in pay per call is awesome because that is definitely something that I really have spent more time focusing on and really want to grow personally. And I definitely think others that are watching this should do so as well.
Hell yeah. No, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited to just chat, talk shop with you. Hopefully people can get some insight into where I believe pay-per call is going. I'm super stoked in terms of where it's going into the new year. So this is going to be great.
Awesome. So you want to elaborate on that in terms of, just to start off, where do you think pay per call is headed? Like from where it is right now?
So from where it is right now, I mean, it's definitely going to see some dramatic growth in 2020. Um, and why I say that is based upon the indicators that I see out there. And what I mean by an indicator is really what's influencing. How do I say this? What I mean by an indicator is just all of the little factors that are or the events that are happening. And so one big indicator that I'm seeing is that, and we were talking about this recently, is that a lot of the clients that are typically working on a cost per lead model are shifting their budgets and their focus to a cost per call model. And there are so many reasons to that, but historically, the verticals and the industries that are primarily cost per lead focused, like solar, insurance, still some legal, and all of these other smaller verticals that are still growing are going to dramatically shift to pay per call in 2020 and beyond. And that's because it's more difficult to get someone on the phone now. And
Absolutely.
plain and simple, that small little factor is leading to some very big changes. And that's due to a lot of different things, such as individuals trying to robocall the shit out of everyone in the country. And so regulation leading to uh, uh, more hurdles with technology to actually get someone on the phone. And that makes, let's say, white hat clients, uh, that makes it more difficult for, let's say, white hat clients who do things the right way to get people on the phone. So you're going to start to see a lot of those clients say, I need to position myself with individuals who can help me drive that inbound phone call, because I can't get my leads on the phone. And so we're going to start to see some dramatic growth there just based on that alone. And then as well, seeing that these new industries that are very call focused expand. So smaller ones, like, let's say, med spas or different types of medical treatments and medicine. those are going to start to really ramp up too, now that there are more companies that are trying to expand their digital marketing rather than just relying on traditional marketing, doctors' offices, chiropractors, etc. So I just said a shit ton without taking a breath. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean,
Cool.
for people that are viewing that kind of want to break it down a bit further, if with our data privacy laws changing and obviously having privacy more focused, it's harder to, there's all these terms of service and all that, we have to add to our lead forms.
Yeah.
And so, like Anthony said, even if you are able to generate a data lead, it doesn't necessarily mean that the advertiser is going to successfully connect with that lead on the phone, because people are getting bombarded with tons of calls. And so I know, me personally, if I don't know the number, I likely won't answer it and I'll let it go
Yeah.
to voicemail. And chances are I probably won't even check the voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to understand that from a consumer point of view, they're doing the same thing. So advertisers are struggling. And so pay-per-call, the user intent is higher because it's essentially having the consumer call the advertiser, letting them know this is the perfect time for me to talk about it, and I'm willing to talk about it. And the lead quality is so much better with pay-per-call than it is for data forms.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, a really cool indicator to look at is one of the most classic, long-standing, and I wouldn't say high quality, but just definitely there's volume, is co-reg. Co-reg gets a bad name because of the amount of volume that comes through and the level of intent. Literally, these people are at the very top of the funnel. That's a generalization, but most of it is. And so we're starting to see that more and more co-reg providers are shifting their focuses from just, say, selling those leads to integrating into a call system or integrating with a partner from on the call side. And so we've been really looking at, from a network perspective, partnering with more of those co-reg agencies, because we see that they're shifting their model and we have a great fix for their model to help them bridge the gap between. And so that's a really cool indicator to look at. And you should start to see more and more of those lead providers and lead sellers ask, are you doing calls? So this is, it's fun to watch it. It's really fun to watch it shift.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, that's yet another thing that makes pay-per-call powerful, is essentially it's an exclusive lead, because obviously they're calling one buyer.
Yep.
While data forms, they could be sold to multiple, a shared lead, they could sell it to 5 different buyers. And obviously the first person to call, the first person to get in contact with the consumer, the value is going to be higher. But by the time you get the 5th call, you're like, all right, enough. I don't care anymore. I don't want to hear anything more about that.
Yep.
So yeah, that's awesome. So I know you kind of mentioned, did you say day spas and a few other verticals that you think are going to start growing in the space, like more so like small businesses at, like day spa, nail salon, stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Well, I actually said med spa. So med spa is like laser hair removal, liposuction, cool sculpting. Those are very high ticket items for a med spa. And so you can't just really fill out a form. You want to consult with someone. And so it makes it very, very good for the pay-per-call industry, because those people need to speak with someone and set an appointment. And that appointment scheduled is kind of like that conversion. And so I definitely expect to see more of that, more small businesses just in general, trying to make sure that they connect with more individuals, because they can't keep relying on someone filling out a form on their site or maybe just getting raw data leads. I mean, if you think about it, when I'm looking for, let's say, something on Yelp, I'm looking to make that immediate action, which is that phone call most of the time. Now, obviously, I don't think restaurants are going to buy pay-per-call leads, but like you're starting to see that that's where the intent is moving towards. I want that immediate result. I want to talk to someone now. And so I want to do that with either a phone call or in some cases a text message. And so things like med spa, definitely solar energy. It has been huge and obviously leads, but when I'm getting blasted by 7 solar installers, I'm not going to pick the phone up. And if I'm a solar installer and I'm buying non-exclusive leads, these are very expensive leads. And if I can't get them on the phone, I'm going to be blowing through my budget so quick. So they need to rely more on getting actually qualified consumers into their funnel so they can close them. And so I'm really excited to see where solar goes. And then I think the typical ones like insurances, they're going to just continue to grow even further. And then on top of that, medical. Med spa is a little bit like that, but things like chiropractors, physical therapists, different types of medicine, I believe those are going to continue to grow too, because those are all very call orientated. Things like psychiatrists, psychologists, different types of mental health services. Those are all going to grow because those are technically private practices in most cases. And so they're for profit. And so they need to get people on the phone to do so, to make that profit.
So from an affiliate's point of view, how can they really take advantage of this market growing? Because I think a lot of people still don't realize a lot of the offers that are available to affiliates they do well on generalized traffic, because something like sweeps or something like that, it's the intent or the audience is really anyone that wants to win something.
Mm-hmm.
While this, obviously you're going to make a lot more per call than you would from like a sweepstakes lead or something like that. But to actually get your audience warmed up prior to that phone call is a big opportunity, because not everyone's going to do it. A lot of people that do pay per call, they kind of focus on running on Google or Google ads, getting that super high intent keyword. But because of that, you got to pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I think a big opportunity for people is picking a vertical that is going to be around a while. You know, there's tons of them. Like you mentioned, solar is a great example, and building up an asset of some sort that answers people's questions up until that big purchase, because no one's going to, besides obviously people that are searching that direct keyword, call or get solar now, or, whatever it may be, there's a ton of people that are still in that decision phase. And if we can capture that as affiliates and help inform them up until that sale, there's a huge, huge advantage there, because not everyone is willing to put in that work.
Yeah, totally. And so, the original question I heard was, what can affiliates do to prepare to work in pay-per-call? I would say if you're an affiliate right now that's running, I don't know, let's say, like you said, sweeps offers, I would start to really shift your attention towards something we've talked about, which is brand building.
Yeah.
But there's so many steps that go into that. You can't just say, hey, start building a brand. But I think if at the very least you have, let's say, an audience that you are capturing, getting them to engage with your media, I don't know, filling out a form, even if you're capturing that data lead yourself, that's a really great way to start too, because you can say, take that data lead and start to build a list, or start to build an audience profile of who's coming in and make a proper decision on that. For example, the majority of sweeps offers are being consumed by subprime individuals. Well, there are subprime offers out there that on the pay-per-call side that could apply well to that audience. Things like credit repair, debt consolidation. Mortgage refi is often overlooked when it comes to subprime. Now, obviously, you need a good credit score for that, but these people want to save money. Things like Social Security, disability, all kinds of offers apply well here on the pay-per-call side. So I really look at it as, if I'm running something where I'm capturing a certain demographic, figure out what pay-per-call offer works in that demographic, and then start to build your assets around that, whether it be get them on the messenger list, get them into an email list. I used to say get them into a push list, but obviously that's starting to change based upon what you've told me, and then maybe what we'll talk about later. But get them somewhere. If you're already doing something and you're doing something in lead gen, and then start to build up your assets around that. And if you're, let's say, brand new, or you're doing traditional cost per lead, it's not too difficult to, let's say, test out different ways to maybe get your leads on the phone using an SMS system like Drips or something like that. So I would say, from that affiliate who's already doing something, I'm using just super vague terms right now. Already buying media.
Hmm.
Look at who the audience is, and then figure out who they are, build a profile, and try and match that to something on the call side and begin to build an asset there. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
Okay,
mean,
cool.
I think a lot of people in this space, based on the types of offers that have been promoted or people have been coached on for the most part, is when you think of running on a big source such as like Google or Facebook, a lot of people go down the rabbit hole of trying to cloak because they're going after iffy offers that aren't really
Yeah,
able to be ran on their sources. However, with something like most pay per call offers, obviously there's some that are a bit black hat in nature, even in that vertical. But
yeah,
for the most part, you're able to run on these sources that has the majority of the traffic. You don't have to cloak, you don't have to do anything shady.
yeah,
And by having that ability to have longevity in your accounts, not only can you build up, your pixel data, you build up your audience and, having people at different points. So maybe you have a bucket of people that are still in the research phase. Well, if you know that they're in the research phase, you can continuously send them, content that you've created over time. Or if you're a bit newer in the vertical, as in your first goal is to just start generating some calls. You mentioned subprime. Well, I've seen a lot of subprime offers do extremely well on like Snapchat and more social uh, traffic. So, for example, we've
hmm,
seen loan consolidation do extremely well. Um, we've seen not so much mortgage offers, but debt consolidation, stuff like that
yeah,
has done extremely well on Snap. And I think that's going to continue because that audience is younger. And as we know, millennials and, whatever other generation is having money problems. And
yeah. They
so,
want to save money. Yeah,
exactly. And they're
yep,
kind of swamped in debt. And so that matches up very well. And so you could start to run these offers on something like Snapchat without having to cloak or anything, and start to generate an audience and start to build up an audience. So maybe you try just a landing page where you're running directly to the offer, but maybe you also split test against trying to capture them on, like you said, an SMS list where you kind of inform them
yeah,
more prior to the sale, maybe an email list. In some cases, a push list. I know you mentioned me saying push maybe going downhill, but actually push isn't going to die. It's more so as long as you're providing value to your push subscribers, it's going
totally.
to do extremely well. What we're going to see have some issues is the people that are just getting a push list just to start pushing offers constantly without
Okay,
any intent.
that makes sense. Okay, and I like how you mentioned Snap, for example, because that sparked a thought where um, I often see that some of the biggest affiliates out there will run, let's say, on Facebook, on Snap, on Native, or something along those lines, and they're making a shit ton of revenue daily. Um, and they look at it as, well, why do I need to shift to pay per call and change my entire business process up when I'm making all this revenue daily? Um, and I'm not speaking for all affiliates here, but for a lot of the affiliates, they're not really getting any equity out of their media buying efforts. And so what I mean by this is, if I'm crushing it on, let's say, solar on Facebook or Native or something like that, I'm really just running that directly to the advertiser. And I'm, like I said, I'm speaking in generalization, but like, I'm not getting a lot out of it, whereas the advertiser is getting all the value, and which they should be. They're buying the lead, but that doesn't mean there's no way for me to build a brand in between. And so,
Absolutely.
a lot of the hurdles that I think people assume is that, well, I'm just going to have this dramatic drop in revenue, or I'm going to have to change my entire business process up. I usually tell them, no, you don't need to do that. Like you and I were just talking about, is just take a little bit more control back. So if you're running, let's say, a solar ad and you're capturing leads for your client, you should, one, be the first buyer of that lead. You should be, as the affiliate, the owner of that lead. And so obviously updating your disclaimers and your opt-in information is important. And so keep doing what you're doing. Keep buying those leads and keep sending those leads to your clients, but you should also be the one buying that and controlling the lead flow. So then when it's time to build, let's say, a deeper lookalike audience, or building that email list or that authority, you've already start to have an asset built. And so that's one thing that I like to really talk about with our affiliates, is that little step can really help you transition into pay-per-call easier. And it helps you with the authority building process too. So as you can see, I'm going to start to ramble a lot because I love this shit. So, and by the way, does it look like I'm on a green screen like yours, but mine's grass?
I just thought you were laying in grass or something.
Oh, you think I'm laying right now?
Yeah,
okay.
You're in the middle of a field right now, just chilling.
Okay, all right. This is how we do it here, Apollo. We're super hippie.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of jumping back into what you mentioned about building brands is, I think a lot of affiliates don't really focus much on the future of a campaign, because campaigns come and go.
Yeah.
But if you find a vertical that's going to be around a while, like for example, health insurance likely isn't going anywhere. Solar, regulations change and it has ups and downs, but generally speaking, it's probably not going to go anywhere. So if you pick a vertical that is, stable or has some stability, and you are generating some revenue in that space, the next step is to really start to build out different assets to not only can, help improve your lead quality, but also as you start to build up this content and that you can provide for your leads, you can turn them into blog posts, you can turn them into videos, and now you're starting to build up a site that can start getting traffic from other sources that you aren't having to pay for. So as opposed to focusing just on paid, well, what happens if the traffic source changes their terms of service, or something happens where maybe the advertiser or the buyer rather doesn't want you to be buying traffic on that source? This allows you to have a backup. And I know we've talked about this in the past. As you're building this up, you're also building equity, because that site, that asset, or whatever it is that you're building has value. And if you ever decided to later on sell the site, if it's generating traffic, it has generated revenue passively from other sources, that's value. If you went to try and sell an affiliate campaign as is, here's my Snapchat account, here's my one landing page, and here's the affiliate offer, you can't sell it. But by building out your campaigns in this way to focus on going a bit more long term, there's definitely value there.
Yeah, definitely. Like you can see that. You can see that perfectly with credit repair. Google legit. I don't even know if it was they gave everyone a 2 weeks heads up. I don't know. I mean, maybe the big suppliers got them, and the direct credit repair companies. But Google just banned credit repair across the board. Doesn't matter who you are. You can't get certified. It's done. And so a lot of affiliates who were solely credit repair focused on Google Ads, that was it. It's just done with. And if you're running call only, then you have no value at all, because you're not even able to get a pixel on these people. Yeah. So the strong credit repair affiliates that I've seen are the ones, and there's not a ton because Google's just so simple to run on. They've built an asset, and they've built their audience, and they've built different ways to find those users, not just going directly towards the bottom of the funnel. And so it's so fucking important to build that asset in like a scenario like that. And then as well, if you're in an industry, and I think a lot of affiliates know this, don't be dumb. Like don't, I'm just going to leave it at that. Just don't be ignorant when you see that, okay, this is a hot industry. Let's use student loan, for example. Student loan was rocking on Facebook. Like it was crushing it at one point. It was awesome. It was really cool from a network perspective. I mean, obviously the calls are very nice, but it's really cool to watch how it just exploded overnight. It was exploded very quick. And so we, as the network, we saw that different types of angles were being used because we wanted to help our affiliates, and at times we have to make sure everything's compliant. But we noticed that, okay, this is getting pretty hot. Like, people are promising certain things, the volume drivers are promising certain things in the ad creatives that's not necessarily true. Some student loan operations on the client side weren't doing things the right way. These are all little indicators. And so the smarter affiliates that saw this, they began to build their audience differently when it came to media buying. You already have them on Facebook. You're already getting them to your landing page. They started to do more. And so then when Facebook came through and was like, nah, you're dead. You're done. Student loans gone. And if you try to run it, we're probably just going to ban you and we'll have to catch you. All of those affiliates who didn't try to build up any assets, they just didn't have much. Yep. Some had to pivot to new media sources like different platforms, but some focused on the asset side. And now they have thriving businesses because they built up their assets. Maybe they took a few steps back in revenue, but they built up a shit ton in terms of equity in their assets. And now they can serve really the entire audience that would utilize a student loan consolidation service. And so what you just said there is so important. And I've seen it hands-on from the affiliate who built nothing. And then when shit goes down, it's just dead, to the affiliate who was able to spin that into something greater. There I go going on a tangent again, but I love that point, dude.
So let me ask you this. After that smackdown from Facebook, did you see buyers having to increase how much they're going to pay per lead? Like, did the average value go up?
I saw that the average value went up. I saw the duration go down because not that it needed to. It's just they would do anything they would need to do to make it more flexible for the affiliate, more favorable, because they just need the volume. I saw early, once the ban came down, I saw that a lot of advertisers decided to say, hey, let's try lead forms out. But then they realized lead forms, these things don't perform as well as what we used to have. So let's stop that. So pricing went up. Pricing went up, duration went down, compliance went way up because Obama was promising every student loan to be forgiven, but he wasn't. And so after that, clients really had to make sure they were doing things the right way. So I saw the client pool drop. I saw the good ones stay because they were doing things the right way. Until a lot of shit changed. Now, student loan is still around today. We don't really operate it anymore because we just there's so many reasons, but we definitely saw it evolve big time and make some different surges in different media platforms. But yeah,
so I kind of seeded you because I kind of figured that the value would go up, because obviously, if from a buyer's perspective they're getting a ton of volume and all of a sudden it drops off the cliff, they built up infrastructure on the back end to take that volume. Obviously, if it's a call center, they have a bunch of people now, and all of a sudden the volume dries up. So what are they going to do? They're going to pay more money per lead to try and get that back up. And so from an affiliate perspective, the one that actually built out something that's still able to generate leads, now they're making more money. There's less competition because everyone got wiped out. And chances are is if you have an asset built up, you likely could still probably run traffic on Facebook to the content side of things and still kind of get traffic from Facebook for student loans if you do it right.
Yeah, exactly. That if you do it right is it's broad, but it's accurate. You can't go at someone with, and this is no shot on any affiliate. I'm just saying how they used to do it. You can't do it anymore. So you can't just go straight for that advertorial angle, which was crushing it before. You got to give them more value before you even try to introduce anything like that. And so, I mean, it's still very touchy with Facebook, but you're going to have way more success in terms of building that value chain before you even try to offer them anything. And your ad accounts will stay live longer. So yeah.
So one thing that I've personally seen was people going more like the financial blog, like just giving more types of tips, like how to save money at the grocery store, and building out like a whole property of different tips and stuff to save money. One of those tips could be, if you're capturing them to like a newsletter or something, getting them on an email list, while they're signing up to your email list, you ask them, do you have student debt? Well, now you can do it in the back end on the email side and start
Yeah.
to send them very specific content for student loans. Maybe they have, we talked about other types of debt consolidation, but doing it that way, you're able to filter people's needs based on when you capture them as a lead in your, email database, SMS
Yep.
database, whatever it may be. And that gives you a lot of opportunity to promote multiple different types of offers, but still being in the same vertical as opposed to
Yeah.
focusing on one.
I love that. And on top of that, it gives you that, it repositions your mindset of how you want to market to them as not convert them first, but build my asset first. In my opinion, any strong affiliate should be, their conversion, and I'm using this vaguely, should be to build my asset. And then after that, introduce the offer. Don't try to go for that close before you've got some type of equity. Get them on some list, get them to fill in an email, SMS, push, whatever that is. Get them to do that first before you introduce any type of offer, because then it's just transactional. The second you introduce them to that offer and they get what they need, the odds of you getting them to participate with your list again, let's just use a list for the word here, is very difficult. So go for that gold first, and everything else is going to be so much more delicious. I'm going to use the word delicious there. It's going to be al dente.
Very nice.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, it really sounds like our focus, and it is thinking of, no matter if you're just a solo entrepreneur, solo affiliate working from home,
Yep.
there's still opportunity to build something that has extreme value, the long term.
Yeah.
And one thing that I know personally, and I'm sure many watching this have all struggled with, is when I was really focused on mobile, I would have days where easily make 10, 20 grand in revenue in a day, but then all of a sudden it dies off and now you're back to square one. You're having to go back to testing and finding that next winner. And sometimes it may be a month or two before you get that back up. So a lot of people, that are promoting courses and stuff like that, they all say, oh, you can make $1,000 a day, etc. Well, what you don't realize is yeah, you may be able to make $1,000 a day for like a week with the shadier stuff or the more direct stuff. But what happens after that campaign dies off?
Sure.
If you build up an asset, it may be a dip in revenue initially, but what it does is it makes your stuff more stable, because when you're able to, especially when you're solo and you're able to see your day-to-day revenue generation, a lot of us, I know I sure have, judge your self-worth based on that day-to-day revenue. And so what I mean by that is days that you do extremely well, you're all manic, you're happy, you feel like, you're the king of the world in terms of you got this. And then you start seeing, negative $800 days or whatever, and it goes on and on. You start to feel like, all right, what am I doing? I'm still putting in the same amount of work. What the heck? But
Totally.
if you focus on the little bit of extra work, because it's all about basically building moats, right? Most people, even those watching this, likely are not going to take that extra step and build something of value. But the ones that do are going to make their life, I'm not going to say life, but basically make their campaigns a lot more stable. And also, we've mentioned this a few times now, but build up that equity, because if you ever get bored of a niche or a vertical and you build something up of value, you could turn around and sell it. In some cases, depending on if it's very, very targeted types of leads, obviously student loan consolidation is huge, but if there is only a few traffic generators left, if one of them ever wanted to sell, chances are their buyer of the leads may be a potential buyer of the site or whatever it is that they purchase or build.
Totally. I mean, like, and I want to touch on that whole thing, but like what you just said there is so important, because for example, a really great example of that is the addiction treatment space. We still do, and we have done a lot in the addiction treatment space. And I know you and I have talked about this a bit, but the addiction treatment space went through a huge change with regulation because there were a lot of just shitty players in it, whether they be affiliates who do things the wrong way, or the treatment centers who intake a patient the wrong way, or whatever that is. And that's the repercussions of that is so much greater than, let's say, someone calling in for a student loan. I'm not saying if you get ripped off for a student loan, we'll boo-hoo. I'm not saying that, but these are people looking for help
Yeah.
medically. And so, like, obviously regulators took notice of that and made some big sweeps. And so Google Ads went through some changes, and it's very difficult to market to the addiction audience now, because you got to do it the right way. But the right ones that we saw do it were the ones who built up that brand. And a lot of that brand building went into SEO. So like what you just said right there, focus on building that asset, because someone will come and buy it, and most likely it will be your client. That's exactly how we performed a few transactions. We had affiliates who were building up those assets, and they didn't want to continue to build those assets, or you know, we just saw that there was more opportunity for us to help manage it better, or whatever that is. And we came through and we purchased that asset from them. Everyone was super happy. We got what we wanted. The affiliate got what they wanted. And that happened because they focused on building that asset and building that equity and watching those signals as they occur in the industry, like addiction. Fuck, so many businesses went down once you had to get Legit Script certified for addiction. And so the right players were still hanging out. And then one thing that I think I just thought about, actually I can wait unless you want me to go on another little tangent.
One question.
Yeah.
So when there was that sweep, did you see addiction leads go up in value once again?
Big time.
So that's what I'm kind of getting at is the ones that built up that asset, and the fact that, you know, there may be types of offers that hit it big and everyone's talking about, everyone's running, everyone's making money. But usually when that happens, either the advertiser doesn't know their KPIs, and so they just got like big funding and they're overpaying, or maybe people are running aggressively, saying stuff they can't actually be saying, and there's either regulations or the advertiser cleans up shop. There's all sorts of potential outcomes when an offer is doing extremely well for lots of different people.
Yeah, it was kind of funny with some of the conversations we'd have with affiliates in the addiction space. Not the ones we were trying to purchase their assets from, but like they would have people bidding on their sites, and then the second bidding on their websites for addiction because they were very highly ranked. And then the second Google came through with Legit Script certification, their sites went up like 5x in terms of value, and they were just like sitting there like Mr. Burns, like tapping their fingers together, and so they cleaned up. It was really cool to see that. It's always just so awesome to see an affiliate build up that asset and then be able to just cash out because they did things the right way in the industry and built a business. And then like using the addiction example again, if you were in an SEO pub pre-Legit Script, you got some damn good payouts. Post-Legit Script, shit, you could do whatever the fuck you wanted. It's just like, give me $1 million per 10-second call. It's like, all right, will you take 900,000? It's like, okay, I'll take 900,000.
So using real values, like what did you see? Like what before Legit Script, like what was the cost of a phone call, and then after, what did you kind of see it go up?
Man, I mean, that number ranges big time because there are different. All right, I'll try to generalize it because obviously there are different ad angles, different funnels that someone would go down. I'm going to use Google search for an example here. Paid search. SEO is way different. I can't just generalize it. So let's say paid search for an affiliate. They would get paid anywhere from, let's say, all right, I'm gonna back up a bit and say I'm gonna act as if the affiliate has Legit Script certification, because you can't get a Legit Script certification if you're an affiliate. You got to be a direct treatment center. But for this example, I'm just gonna go for what's a reasonable competitive cost per call. So let's say pre-Legit Script, when I'm an affiliate running ads, I can get paid anywhere from, let's say, $30 to $50, depending on how good my traffic is. Yeah, $30 to $50, just the general addiction audience. It can definitely range, depending on what I'm bidding on. Now, if I'm, let's say, an affiliate and somehow I can legit script certify and become legit script certified, I could sell those calls close to $75 to $80 per call on the low end, on the very low end. Still depends on what you're bidding on, but like that price damn near doubled, because one, the supply is just, it's still there. It's just harder to get. And I'm not saying all treatment centers are dumb, but an affiliate marketer running addiction compared to a new treatment center running addiction, obviously on Google search, that affiliate marketer is going to run circles around them 8 to 9 times out of 10. He's going to break their ankles on the court. I don't know. I'll use whatever sports analogy you want. They're going to outperform them because they just know how the funnel works. So yeah, that's how the pricing went. And I mean, personally, Apollo, like, we were positioned the right way because we saw the changes coming too. And so we saw our affiliates as the asset. We need to partner with the right affiliates to help us with our clients in terms of the volume they need. And so we had to do certain things to make sure, one, we find the right affiliates for when this changes comes, the right treatment facilities, and then as well provide more value to that affiliate than they would going directly to a treatment center. And so we really prepared a fuck ton. We still saw some drops, but we prepared a lot, so we have those assets in place for when that happens. That was a slight plug on Paulo right there. I hope you enjoyed it. But But yeah, that we definitely saw the pricing change. The pricing was it was crazy how it shifted.
Yeah. So basically, the ones that did things right made bank because they did it right.
Yeah,
So,
it was a bunch of like Denzels in the Book of Eli's walking around after legit script certification, just chopping motherfuckers' heads off. I don't know where I went with that, but yeah.
all right then.
Yeah.
So before I asked that question, you said you had something you wanted to say.
Oh, so I was thinking about this, and it's more of like a building traits and building habits and building skills. From what you told me about this call that we're having right now is the state of affiliate marketing. And so we're talking a lot about pay-per-call. I mean, I'm on this call obviously because of pay-per-call, but we're talking a lot about pay-per-call here. And it's not like the state of affiliate is all pay-per-call, but I think that's going to be a big focus for a lot of companies. And why I think that's so crucial to this convo is because the real topic here is brand building and asset building. And so brand building and asset building takes a whole different mindset and a whole different set of methods used, types of media used, outlets you use. It takes a whole different operation and strategy, in my opinion. And so doing all those things and the build up to finally monetizing what you're doing fits amazingly well with pay-per-call. And so learning how to build that audience, learning how to provide value are all just amazing skills to have. And then finally, when it comes time to monetize, either high cost, high intent lead gen, or just pay-per-call is going to fit in beautifully. But obviously lead gen just fuels pay-per-call in the back end. And so focusing on pay-per-call now, kind of like knowing that at the end of the rainbow, when I've done all my asset building, I want pay-per-call. Focusing on it now puts you in that mindset of brand building and asset building, equity. And it gets you in the right state of mind to build things the right way. So I wanted to just point that out, like indirectly, you're building a lot of value by focusing on pay-per-call. That's helping you build brands and assets and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think I was just checking out, I think the state of affiliate marketing video I did in 2015, one of the very first things I talked about was pay-per-call.
Great glasses.
Thank you. Yeah, they're still around. But
Okay.
uh, but yeah, I mean, even back then it was more so a focus on finding things that were sustainable, because I was getting sick and tired of, getting banned from traffic sources or getting the offer pulled or whatever. It's, you know, like I said before, if something's aggressive, yeah, chances are short term you're going to make more money in the very short term. But if you find something that's has longevity to it, you're going to make more money in the long term, and potentially a substantial amount more if you actually take the time to build something out.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, you know, last, what is it, 4 years, almost 5 years, saying the same thing over and over. And unfortunately, a lot of people kind of revert back to, oh, I'm just going to run pop traffic and run sweeps or casino offers or whatever it may be. I understand that you just want to try and get your very first dollar online or start to get your first successful campaign, but you're really doing yourself a disservice by not actually trying to think strategically on how can I run this offer with just paid traffic and potentially just send the traffic directly to the advertiser for now, while also starting to think of ways I could split test. So
Yeah,
as a great example, potentially say that you get an offer that is working well, you're running paid traffic to it, and you're at, say 80% ROI or you're 50% ROI. Instead of just letting it sail at that 50% ROI, why don't you take some of that traffic and redirect it to a different flow, as in you capture the lead yourself, build up your own email list or something like that. And essentially you're building up something for free, because
yeah,
if you do it where you're breaking even with the other offer, you're building that stuff up for free and giving yourself time to test what's working. And
totally.
then it gives you so many more variables to adjust that chances are over time your funnel is going to outperform what that one offer does, because it allows you to do so much more on the back end and allows you to do so many more tests.
Yep. I love that. I mean, yeah, I don't even know comment on that. You fucking nailed it. Perfect. Build that funnel up. Build that funnel up, baby.
Yeah,
Could we get T-shirts that say "build that"? Build no, build
absolutely.
build that asset up. No, wait, build that ass at and ASS is capitalized, baby.
Just push down a bit.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Okay, build that asset, baby. We'll be selling those at Affiliate Summit West.
Absolutely.
Be ready. We only accept Bitcoin. All right, I don't know where I'm going with that.
So you made a good point. I mean, this video is titled State of Affiliate Marketing, and mostly we've really focused on pay per call. However, it works with everything. So as a great
Yeah,
example, say that you're running a coupon offer. I know this time of the year there's tons of them. Maybe it's a weight loss offer or something. What one that's not black hat where you're having to
sure.
cloak nonstop. There are white hat offers.
One that doesn't have Lori Grenier on the landing page from
Yeah,
Shark Tank.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. I mean, yeah. So as a great example, I just personally, me and my partner just acquired a keto blog, and the reason we bought it is because it's got a substantial amount of Pinterest traffic. It's got a the ability to get a lot of organic traffic as well with just a few changes. And so we already have an offer lined up that we can run to that audience. So in terms of how much traffic it's generating and how much we had to spend on the site, it was only $1,500, but it's generating over 200 to 300 visitors a day. And so if you
Okay.
look at it like that, yeah, we could have taken that $1,500 and ran just traffic to the campaign and or to the offer and try to get it to convert. But this is kind of a different way of looking at it, as opposed to just simply buying paid traffic.
Yeah.
Maybe there's assets out there that you can acquire that kind of fit different offers that you're wanting to run. And then now you have that foundation, because what this site allows us to do is it's got a lot of great content that we can use as email follow-up. So as an example, it has recipes, it has success stories, um, all these different things, that those are all valuable pieces of content that we can use to send to our audience and give them helpful information before sending them any potential like 28-day keto challenge offer or
Yep.
you know whatever. There's all sorts of stuff that we can do with that, as opposed to just trying to run traffic to one offer.
So I'm curious, with the keto site, like what's the first step that you're thinking of doing in terms of building that audience? Are you going to do like email, or are you going to take a very omni-focused approach?
So we haven't actually, we won the site just yesterday, so we're still waiting to actually get
props.
everything transferred over. Thanks, man. So
Nice.
very first thing we're going to do is there's on-page SEO changes that will, let's just say that it's got a lot of rankings at like page 2. And so that initial, those first few changes, we think that it could start getting a lot more organic traffic just from some simple changes. We're also going to instantly add like checklists or like a recipe book where it makes sense and capture them on our email list, which then gives us the opportunity to start getting that flow back, as in maybe people go to the site one time, they look up a recipe right now. Well, now we got them on an email list. Maybe we can give them daily recipes or something. And then also that allows us to also promote different products or have sponsored sections of our email. That right there is a huge revenue generator, because the site as it is only generating revenue through ads. And so the sky's the limit on what we can do on the back end of that.
Oh, like banner placement?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. Woo.
Yeah.
There's so much you could do now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's right off the bat, that's a really good indicator that the audience is, well, I mean, obviously if they're selling it the right way, but that the audience is strong enough that someone wants to come in there and purchase some ads, some banner space, unless it was the site owner placing it. But nice. That's going to be exciting. I can't wait for 2021 when we talk about how you sold that shit off for $2 million.
$2 million? Yeah, we'll see.
All right, 20 mil. Fuck it.
What's interesting is the timing of the site as well. I was kind of excited that it was January, but I actually would have preferred that we got the site in like October or something, just to give us a little bit of runway to settle this up. But still, I mean, we could set it up now. People are probably already starting to fall off the I need to lose weight wagon, but there's still opportunity there.
No, I mean, with things too, like keto, that industry just fuels itself. I mean, everyone talks about keto and how you got to go fucking keto.
Yep.
And like, oh, just do keto. And then they're going to be like, all right, well, how do I do keto? And still, it's going to be great because it's cyclical. It's like, I don't know. January is, I just heard a funny term. What was it? It was people going vegan and keto, and it was Veganuary. Sounds kind of weird. So it's usually people go vegan or keto in January, they fall off, and then towards the end of February, they start to jump back on board. So it'll be cool to watch the cyclical process. Then the summer's coming. They want their summer body. I need to go to Brent's site to figure out how I can eat some cauliflower pizza that keeps me in ketosis.
So what's interesting is I did get access to the analytics and stuff. We're kind of going off track here, but
I don't care. This is great.
Is the one page that's getting a ton of traffic is keto salad, keto taco soup, not keto salad, keto taco soup.
Keto taco soup sounds like a really cool punk rock band. Keto taco soup.
So if you think about it, though, there's certain staple foods that people love, right? That is like pizza or tacos or whatever, and that all has a ton of carbs. And so first things we're going to be doing is thinking of what are these staple foods that people love, and then figure out a keto recipe for them, because I personally love burritos. So I went keto, and that was hard for me because not having a tortilla and all that.
Yep.
So if you could think of all these different ways.
Wait, hold on. So wait, are you telling me that you're going to create some keto recipes?
No, there's tons of them out there already.
Oh, all right. I was so excited that you were going to just put on like your Gordon Ramsay hat and chef up some keto recipes.
I mean, I could. I mean, it's pretty simple, right?
All right. I think you should get your face on that site and cook up some recipes. You got to wear those glasses though.
Yeah. Brent's Keto Blog.
Yeah, Brent's Keto Blog. All right. I'll be the first email subscriber.
So actually what we're going to do is, I don't want to take away from what we've discussed on our other call, because I'm going to link that in the description down below.
Okay.
When it's up. But we kind of talked about this, is we're going to look at different cookbooks on Amazon, on Kindle, and try and find ones that have like no downloads, like no one read it or anything like that,
Okay.
and reach out to the author and see if we could just buy the rights to that. And, you know, have no idea how good the actual recipes are in that case, but at least it gives us a foundation. We can either
Yeah.
use that cookbook as a lead magnet. We could start breaking apart the different recipes and actually adding them to the site to generate more organic traffic. There's a lot of opportunity, and most of our focus right now is to build up that traffic, because once you have the traffic, there's so much potential you can do on
No doubt.
increasing revenue of a site on the back end. And from a buyer perspective, if I was to purchase a website, most cases is I don't look at sites that are generating a lot of revenue. I look at ones that have the potential or currently generating a lot of traffic,
Yeah.
because traffic's the hard part. As long as the traffic, the user intent is high, you can buy a brand new site that's not monetizing in any way, making $0 a month, but it's getting like 5,000 very targeted health conscious people, and find offers, find different ways to monetize that traffic, and probably be having that site make money your first week of owning it.
As well, if they're not making a lot of revenue too, you don't have to worry about a more intense negotiation or a more favorable negotiation, because they don't understand the monetization. Or maybe they do, they just don't want to deal with it. But like there's no real outlook on what they could be making. So it makes it better for you, the buyer.
Absolutely. So, I mean, to kind of tie it all in together with affiliate marketing, if you're sitting here watching this video right now and you're trying to figure out, all right, what is my plan for 2020 to make money? Like, how am I finally gonna have success at this? Then just like take your budget. Like if you only have $1,000, maybe paid traffic isn't the way forward, because that's either you're going to make it within that or you're not. And a lot of variables come into play that even if you do have success, you still have to have enough of a budget to be able to make it until payday from the network or from the buyer, because they're not going to pay you every single day, you know, whatever their payment terms. And so instead, maybe you start to invest that money into content or start to build something up into a vertical that you're wanting to get into.
Yeah.
And there's ways to make money outside of just paid traffic. I know historically I focused a lot of my content on paid traffic, but you'll also notice for the last 4 or 5 years, I've also been very, very focused on assets, because if you're a person that's a media buyer and you know what you're doing and you can build assets, you're going to be a powerhouse, because being able to buy traffic and have a way to actually keep that lead hooked or inform that lead and all that stuff to build up, what's the word I'm looking for? Lead nurturing. If you're able to lead nurture, as in inform them pre-purchase of a huge, maybe it's like a $10,000 product or whatever. If you're the one that's able to help lead them down that purchase decision, you're going to make massive amounts of money.
Yep. So yeah, I agree.
It goes both ways. There's either the types of affiliates that are going to focus on trying to sell like a boat. It's a, 1 or 2 purchase a month kind of thing, but you make a massive amount of commission. Or there's the volume plays, which is, for example, like the health niche. There's tons of traffic out there, especially now. And like Anthony mentioned, there's different times historically during the year that people try and get back into that health craze. And if you're there with valuable stuff, you're going to make a ton of money.
No doubt. I couldn't agree more. Just focus on building that asset, get something to nurture, get that lead so you can nurture it. That's it. Yeah. Plain and simple. Fuck yeah, dude. It was great. Taco soup, keto taco soup. It's going to be our hashtag.
Keto taco soup?
Keto taco soup will be our low key, like signal of, we're building assets. Keto taco soup.
Absolutely.
KTS.
Great.
Word.
So yeah, I mean, I think we kind of gotten that point across. I think we should kind of wrap it up, but I do want to say this. If anyone has any questions or anything like that, go ahead and put them down below, because I'm sure me and you can get back on and make other videos in the future if anyone has questions or anything like that.
I've always wanted to point in a video too. Like I want put them down below, or there's going to be an ad somewhere in this screen, like a
Yeah.
link. Oh,
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. Okay,
You gotta make some YouTube videos.
I
That's
got
all you
I gotta
focus
get
on.
better at it. I'm gonna start pointing like somewhere different. Like there's gonna be some links behind us.
Yeah, that's
I'm an idiot.
click the link behind me.
Click the link behind me. All right, cool. In the grass. It's
Yeah.
buried deep in the grass. All right.
Yep. So if anyone wants to work with you, Anthony, where can they find you? And what's the process of working with you?
Shit, man. I will talk to anyone and everyone. If they want to find me, well, first you could start at Palo Mobile, PALO mobile.com. Fill out the form there. You can hit me up on Skype. My handle's Tony Paluzzi. I'm sure Brent will put that in the description.
The link will be behind me.
It will be, no, it's going to be like in his pocket. Play some pocket pool with him. Yeah, you can hit me up on Skype. I also run a community around growing in pay-per-call called the Caller Meetup. We share all kinds of shit like this. You can find that on Facebook. Just search Caller Meetup. It's a Facebook group. Where else can you find me? You can text me at, no, I'm not giving my cell out. But I mean, I'm really open to talking to anyone and everyone. If it's just about the industry, if they need help building their asset, if they want to talk about monetizing with pay-per-call, I don't know, if they want to learn about grass walls, whatever that is. I love talking about this shit all day. And so hit me up, please. My email is anthony@palomobile.com. Whatever. Yeah, you guys will find me.
One more shameless plug. Anthony's also in my elite mastermind. So that's
Yes.
another great place that's where we've been kind of chatting and sharing different things of the industry.
Yeah. I want to say something to that. I've been in a ton of forums, masterminds, whatever you want to call them. Brent, yours is so fucking focused and dense with knowledge and value that I want to just say props to you, because I hop in there for one day. One, people are proving that they know their shit. Two, they're doing some cool shit to watch. Three, it's not just affiliates. Nothing wrong. It's just affiliate only forums, but it's very diverse in the audience. And then four, it's like, it's not too big yet. Not that it's going to stay small, but it's different. It's really cool. It's really fun to see people grow. These follow-alongs are great. It's cool seeing your blue background in a lot of the videos you post. So I just want to give you props on that, dude. It's a really great forum. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that kind of wraps it up unless you have anything else to say.
Nah, keto taco soup, bro.
Keto taco soup. Next time we have a video, we're both going to be eating keto taco soup.
I think we should do like a Hut Ones type of YouTube thing where we're eating spicy wings.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. All right. We'll eat a chili pepper and we'll see who dies first.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for watching, and be sure to reach out to Anthony if you have any interest in pay-per-call, because he by far has the best network in pay-per-call. I've worked with I'm saying it, but I've tried to work with a lot of networks, and it's one thing to have an account manager that doesn't know much, but it's another one to see how personal Anthony is and how much value he can bring to helping you get your campaign going. So once again, check out palomobile.com and reach out to Anthony.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
Fuck, I can't even say one word.
I just saw you grab your ears.
I had to.
Oh, all right. I was like, why is he grabbing his ears?
Hey, everyone. This is. God damn it. Now I'm not going to be able to look at you. I need to put some random shit in front of your face.
All right. I'll be serious.
As soon as I look up, you're just fucking smiling. All right. Yeah, that's a great start to it.
All right, let's do it. This is great. It's like something about Mary. Okay. All right, I'm serious.